Guys, yo. It's a big man here. HH half up, half up. So this is a big one, and I hope this is going to be the first of many interviews that I'll be doing. So we're obviously trying to grow and take things to the next level on this half of football hot, and I think this is a big one, man. As a Nigerian myself, it's always good to see and encouraging to see other Nigerians succeed as well. And I think he is one of the guys out there as a Nigerian sports journalist that's really doing things specifically in the footballing space. I think he obviously went viral without question that he asked Pep Guardiola, going to Pep Guardiola, and even he even got like a little tidbits from Mourinho as well. He was the guy that broke the story about Victor Osimhen to thingy before Fabrizio Romano. He was the guy that broke that story, and yeah, he's really putting himself out there as a guy that is really mixing it with all of the biggest sports journalists. We're going to talk about his career, his life, how he got into football journalism, and so forth. So without further ado, I give you sports journalist Oma Akatugba. Oma, aloha.
Hi, good to be on your show. I'm very excited. Thank you for the glowing intro. It makes me feel special. Thank you.
Okay, so let's just start at the very beginning. I always like to start at the very beginning. So just tell me about your journey towards becoming a sports journalist. So where you grew up, how you grew up, and what really sparked your interest or your belief or the catalyst that thought that, what, maybe I could get into sports journalism. Just give me a little bit of a genesis of how
Oh,
you became to become a sports journalist.
okay. It started right from my days in a place called Ikorodu. Ikorodu is a suburb in Lagos where I went to school, Government College Ikorodu. I was a student.
So, is that in Ikoyi?
Ikorodu, not
Okay.
Ikoyi.
Because
I'm
also
not
okay,
an,
okay.
I'm not an Ajebota.
Okay.
So I went to school in Ikorodu Government College. And of course, before going to school, football had always been my passion. I remember 1990, the Daman miracle it was in '89 in Saudi Arabia. I was born in 1983. I was 6 years old. I still remember listening to the radio outside through a window and everyone, going ecstatic, going into wild jubilation after Nigeria equalized. So it's been a passion. It's been from my childhood, and I would listen attentively to my elder brothers talk about football, talk about the Afcon, talk about Abedi Pele, talk about Rashidi Yekini, talk about them Stephen Keshi, and the likes. And it was so interesting. So I, of course, started to watch, television, see people talk about football, see people present sports. So it became like a dream for me. And then complete sports was very popular at that time. So while in school, instead of having my books, I will have complete sports newspaper.
Mm,
I don't go to school with books. I only go to school with complete sports. That was my book.
mm.
There was a day I was going to school. One of my science teacher saw me at the gate and he was like, "Where are your books?" I gave him complete sports. Say, "Is this your school book?" I said, "Yeah, that's what I have." He took note of my class and my name, and then he came searching for me that he was going to deal with me. That I come to school without books, but complete sports. And during the break time, what young people usually do at break time is to chit chat, to go drink, to go eat something nice. I'm going to gather my friends and we're going to talk about football all through. No girlfriend. It was only football because the girls don't like football. So I was just everything football. That was how it started. And then my elder brother, who was a television producer at that time, he saw the passion I have for football. And in 1990, he called me to his studio and said, "Learn from some of these presenters. I want you to anchor a football show." Then it was called Football at Play. 1990. How old was that? No, 1999. 1999. Sorry. I think I was about 17, 16, 17. So he gave me the opportunity to anchor his football show. called Football I Play. It was difficult, but I got it going. And that was how my career actually began, as a football journalist. And then I went to the University of Lagos, but honestly speaking, I didn't finish. I left university after 1 year because I was too passionate about doing football journalism, that I felt like school was going to waste my time. So I left school after 1 year. And then I went into football journalism as an apprentice. So from there, I moved on to NTA, where I joined a woman called Rebecca Ayuba. I was basically like an intern. I was watching her do TV production. I was watching her write script. I was watching her prepare for the show. So I started to help her prepare for the show. And then I'll feature for 10 minutes. And from 10 minutes, I became the presenter of the show. And then I did that for a couple of years. I moved on to Galaxy TV, where, Stephen Ojo, the owner of Galaxy, called me to come and, anchor his sports shows. I did that from 2000 to 2004, and that was when I met Felix Okugbe. I don't know if you know Felix Okugbe, late Felix Okugbe.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Felix Okugbe was one of the legends of television sports presentation in Nigeria.
Okay.
I met Felix Okugbe in 2005, and then I joined him to do Mundial Sports International on AIT. And while at AIT, I had the opportunity to undergo a training organized by the BBC in sports reporting, sports commentary, and sports presentation. So I got that training through the BBC. I got a BBC certificate in sports reporting, sports commentary. And then from there, I moved into AIT, where I also worked in the sports department. From AIT in 2008, in 2006, I went to my first African Nations Cup as a young journalist. That was what basically opened my eyes to the world of sports, of football journalism. Then I saw how big this could be. And then in 2008, I decided to go independent. I set up my own sports media company, started my own TV show, started my own radio show. And like they say, the rest is history.
Okay, that's cool. So, being a sports journalist, what would you say have been the difficulties of being a sports journalist? So let's say like there's someone who's thinking of, I want to now become a sports journalist. What are the kind of warning signs, or what is the kind of advice that you would give them? So what are the kind of things that they should watch out for, or what are the kind of things that they need to pretty much prepare to make sure that they're the best sports journalists that can pretty much get in those rooms, that can ask a Pep Guardiola, a Mourinho, those kinds of questions?
The difficulties are, as a Nigerian, in the early days, you're going to get to work a lot for free. I know that sounds strange for anyone who is European watching this show right now. As a Nigerian, you're going to work for free for, in fact, many years. You must be ready to suffer. That's the word. Because a lot of people will give you an opportunity, but they won't pay you for it. So it will be like they're doing you a favor to give you a platform for people to see what you can do. You must be ready to, like they say, perspire, sweat, suffer. And but it will pay off at the end of the day, because if I didn't do all of these free gigs, I won't be recognized, and I won't be able to leverage on that recognition to get to where I am today. So I would say to any young person who wants to be a sports journalist to be ready to suffer. 1, 2, to be original. You have to be original. You have to be yourself. Yes, you're going to look at a lot of persons and you want to sometimes, shape after them. But in the end, what will pay you more is to be yourself, because they say the only you that you can be is you. No other person can be you. So you have to be original. Of course, you have to know your story. You have to read a lot. You have to research a lot. I talked about how I didn't finish university, but I have studied so hard that you can't even imagine that I didn't finish university, because that is what puts you ahead of your peers. You have to study a lot. You have to generally read, because as a journalist, you must be absolutely on top of your game, because while you are on TV or radio, you must be able to inform the average person as far as football is concerned. And we're in an era where technology has made it very, very, very easy to have information. They say before now you go in search of information, but now the information comes in search of you. It knocks at your door. So as a journalist, as a sports journalist, you must be one step ahead, which means that you've got to research, you've got to read a lot. And that is what I have done, that got me to a position where I became an authority, even while back in Nigeria. You must, like I said, you must have your own niche. You must have your strength. What I did that worked for me was being bold. People call me the controversial one because I'm ready to touch on topics people are scared to touch on. I'm ready to go at anybody so long I have my facts. You must be bold, you must be confident, you must know your story as well. And some level of wit is what I've added to what I do to spice it up, and that makes people enjoy listening to me. Because when I'm on radio, when I was on radio back in Nigeria, people say I like listening to Oma because he's a very interesting person. He makes a lot of interesting jokes. He spices it up with a lot of jokes, and that makes him different. So you must have a niche for yourself. You must know what makes you different. And above all, like I said, read, and continue to read, and the rest, like I say, will add up.
Okay. So now, let's get real now. Let's get real now. So, you're in that space of all of these journalists.
Yeah.
Let's say it's a Champions League night.
Yeah.
And these are some of the really big names and so forth. You're seeing BBC, you're seeing ESPN, you're seeing all of these guys.
People I watched on TV while back in Nigeria.
Yeah, so people that you saw on TV while watching, these are from the biggest things out there.
Yeah.
And then you are a black Nigerian sports journalist. So being brutally honest, do you feel that you get the same level of respect that other journalists do? Do you feel that that your colleagues treat you the same as how you feel that you should be treated as someone that is pretty much in their field? Do the players or the managers that you talk to, once they hear you speak and they hear your accents, do you feel that you get the same respect from them that you would get from the person with the English accent or the person with the American accent? So give me an honest, brutal appraisal of the respectability that you have as a black Nigerian journalist with your diction and your accents in this field.
Well, that's a very interesting question. I think that initially it was a bit of less tolerating. What does he really know about European football? A black guy from Nigeria, how much of knowledge does he have? How intelligent is he? Because I've had situations where people come to me after a press conference and go like, hey, that was an intelligent question. Like they weren't expecting it in the first place. I remember in Berlin, I'm very bad with dates. When I did the Anthony Joshua interview that went viral as well, where he talked about eating pounded yam and a goosey soup. That was at the Laureus World Sports Award. We had a press conference, with Lewis Hamilton, and I asked him 3 questions. And at the end of every of my question, before he answers, he will say, "Good question." The second one, "Good question" again. And the third one, I just got the whole room laughing by asking him how he copes with female fans, that he's rich, he's intelligent, he's handsome, he's got everything. So at the end of the event, Toto Wolff, his manager, then came to me and was like, "Wow, intelligent question." And then all the other white journalists came to me at the red carpet and were like, "Wow, you're not supposed to be here in the media zone. You're supposed to be on the red carpet because you're a celebrity. Your questions were very lively, intelligent, and humorous or hilarious." So you could feel that they weren't expecting a black journalist to be quite intelligent and bold. So I would say that initially it was a case of let's tolerate him. Let's act as though we're all encompassing, we are welcoming, we are very open. I could tell most times, even before I get the chance to ask a question, most of the time the media officer of these clubs will wave me away, and I will stubbornly keep raising my hand to make sure I get the chance. So I think that it was a case of not not knowing what the black guy has got to offer, or not even expecting anything, intelligent. And even the day I asked Pep Guardiola the Messi question, a lot of the British journalists came to me and gave me thumbs up.
Oh no,
Like,
oh no, no.
wow.
We're gonna
Yeah.
touch on that. Don't
Okay.
don't say it. Just hold that,
Okay.
hold that, hold that. So
Okay. So I think that it's been a case of, let's just tolerate him. Let's see what he's got to offer. And then as time went on, I began to earn the reputation of the black guy who asks bold, controversial questions. And sometimes whenever I get the mic, you can see the way everyone turns and waiting for that bombshell. And that has been, the case generally at every press conference room I go into. I've become known for, such questions across Europe, in Champions League games, in Bundesliga games. Whenever I get the mic, people say, oh, that guy that asked very, very intelligent and very controversial questions. And something again that I do that sometimes stands me out is the way I appear. I'm a guy who likes to dress very well. I'm a guy who likes to express myself in the way I dress.
I've seen your WhatsApp picture with your four coats and that car that you're looking at. So I can already tell that you're a guy that likes that high Armani kind of standard kind of thing. So I know.
Exactly. So I look good when I go to press conferences. Again, I've read a lot of things about black guys having to prove something all the time, either by the way they dress, by the way they talk, by the way they look. Because as a black person in a white man's world, you have to always prove that you are not what they think. And as a result, I decided to always look very good and then back it up or follow it up with intelligent questions, comporting myself whenever I'm in the midst of, the white guys. That has helped me also to gain some reputation. I remember anytime I go to Park the Ponds, the guys at the media entrance, young guys, young girls, the moment I get in, they say, oh, the very good dressing journalist has come again. They always say to me, I like the way you dress. We always look forward to seeing you because of the way you dress. So, I try to, how do I put it? I try to show to them that I am as intelligent as you are. Forget about the skin color. I am as knowledgeable as you are. Diction is not a confirmation of English. English is a language. Diction is an identity. An Indian man, no matter how educated he is, will speak to you with his Indian accent, except if he was born in England. Even if he was born in England, you would tell somehow that he's Indian. If he's a Chinese man, if Jack Ma speaks English, he's Chinese. If an Arab man speaks English, he's Arab. Arab is an Arab
Oh,
person.
no, and also because it's very key because just very brief because sorry to cut short, but
Yes.
especially because I say football, this is the everyman sport.
Yes.
This isn't golf or
Exactly.
tennis. This is the sport of everyone. So hence why whenever I do I have my live shows on Saturday and Sunday, we have people with an American accent,
Yes.
an Indian accent, West African accent, South African accent,
Exactly.
Canadian accent. And because I think sometimes why I take offense as to how people say, oh no, only if you have that English BBC Oxford accent,
Exactly.
that's the football guy that's know what they talk about. No, this is the sport for the common man. So
Exactly. I like what you just said, and that's exactly what happens around these press conferences. Even for example, the non-English speaking people, they tend to respect the British English speaking person better than the black African guy who is also speaking perfect English but with African accent. So you can see that separation from you, the black guy who speaks English, and the British guy who speaks English. So they see him more English than you are. And that makes them want to respect them much more and think that they are more intelligent than you do. So as a result of all this, and like I said, as a black person, in every field, in this world of ours, you have to always prove that you are not dumb, that you are not myopic, that you are knowledgeable, that you are swell, can speak the English language as good as the British man, even though you may not have the accent as sweet, as flowery as the British person. So all these are the extra push that makes, me as a black person, not just even do well, but stand out. And that in some way has been a blessing, because I come in here to prove to you that I know this European game as much as you do, if not better, because I've lived all my life following the European game.
So let's now get to one of your many, many big moments.
Yeah.
So this was the moment that I was introduced into you.
Okay.
Because I think, because again, people on my channel, we have the discussion about Pep Guardiola all the time.
Yeah.
Pep Guardiola all the time. Pep, Messi, and so forth. So here I am, looking at, and people say, oh, no, wait, have you heard what this guy asked Pep Guardiola? What? Because obviously, you look at the manager, you don't see the journalist.
Yes.
But look, so basically, because I spent the first 10 years of my life in Nigeria, so I went to nursery school and primary school in Nigeria before leaving when I was 10 years old.
Yeah.
So I was like, I know a Nigerian accent
Yes.
when I can hear one. So I said, no, that guy is 100% Nigerian. So, and then the question that was asked was about, so to Pep Guardiola, that, people have said that you've not been able to be successful in the Champions League without Messi. And you could see, because for me, I look a lot at body language. And you could look, you saw Pep's body language, and it was like a bit of taken apart, because nobody had ever even thought of asking a question like that. And you could you could almost hear like a pin drop once that question was answered. And and he then said that, it's true, because it was not dealing factually, but it was almost as if he was cornered, because he had never really been directed like that. And literally, because that thing went viral, because everyone then began the whole Pep Messi. Well, Pep is never won without Messi, and it was a whole train. So let's back up. Talk me through that day. First, going into the press conference, what it was and everything, and your thinking before answering that question. Is it something you thought of before entering the press conference? Is it something you thought of on the spot? Talk me through how you arrived at asking that question to Pep.
Okay. I've always wanted to ask Pep Guardiola a question, because I haven't followed Barcelona and what Pep Guardiola did. How amazing he was as a Barcelona coach. I became his fan. The kind of football he played, how breathtaking, how entertaining. I call it sugarcaneous. How sugarcaneous, the kind of football Pep Guardiola created at Barcelona. I became a huge fan. And because of my love for Pep, I hardly find him do anything wrong. Even when he went to Bayern, he couldn't win the Champions League, I would go at anyone who tried to criticize him for not winning the Champions League, who tried to call him a failure for not winning the Champions League. And now at City, and then this talk about him not winning the Champions League without Messi kept coming up on social media. What I do, I try to sample popular opinion on social media, and then I juggle them together. And out of those opinions, I create questions, and I go to these managers to try to see or find out how they truly feel about these things people say on social media. So that's my strategy most times. So this Messi Pep talk kept coming up on social media, and I've had several arguments with people on social media, on Twitter, about him, winning the Champions League because of Messi, and not being able to win it because of not having Messi and those quality of players. So I said to myself, the day I get the chance to ask Pep a question, thank you. This photograph was after that question.
Okay, yeah.
I actually thought he was not going to oblige my request.
No, because I remember, because I was following that, but I said, wow, he actually took the picture with you afterwards, because I thought that the guy would drop, no one wants to speak to you afterwards. Yeah.
So on that day, when I got the accreditation for that game, I was like, wow, now I have the opportunity to fire this question at Pep Guardiola. And again, I was also thinking that I may not get the chance, because at Man City's press conferences, it's always difficult to get a chance. That Man City guy, I know him. Sometimes I've had a go at him. I said to him one day, I was at their press conference, he didn't allow me to ask a question. I went to him afterwards. I said, I raised my hands, you didn't pick me up. Why? Why? And he said to me, okay, I'm sorry, next time. So I'm sure he took note of me and recognized my face. So on that day, when the press conference started, honestly speaking, I have two questions. So in my head, I was saying, go with the Messi question, don't go with the Messi question. He might not give a good response. He might take it personally. And then the moment the microphone was coming to me, it was like a moment to take a final decision. My heart was beating. As the mic was coming towards me, I was saying to myself, wow, you have to make up your mind.
Okay, so when it came to you still weren't sure whether you were going to ask the Messi question or not?
Yes. That's why if you notice, if you listen to that question again, I was quite jittery. I was in my voice.
Yes, I remember. Yeah.
Fear. Because Pep Guardiola is not he's not a guy who smiles often. It's a guy who sends you a message of, I don't take prisoners.
So okay. So did you feel slightly intimidated?
Yes,
before you asked that question. Okay. Okay.
Yes. But his response gave me absolute confidence, because his response told me something. He said, in fact, immediately he finished answering my question.
Wait. Okay, so again, I'm sorry. So just for our viewers, can you just tell us exactly what you asked him, and then sort of what he then said. So what was the exact question you asked him, and then what did he say?
Okay, the question was, Pep, you are very popular in Nigeria because of what you did at Barcelona. But there's a school of thought that you have not been able to win the Champions League outside of Barcelona because you don't have players like Messi, Xavi, and Iniesta. What do you say to this school of thought? That was the question. And it was like, yeah, thank you. I was very young then. I've always said that at Barcelona, I had some of the best players in the world. And I say that I was very lucky to have these kind of players. And then he said, I've always said it, that those players were special. And I agree with these people. I agree with these people.
What was your feeling when you had the response and you saw that? Okay, so did you feel the response from the colleagues after it wrapped, or did you feel response from when you saw when you went onto social media and it became viral?
Of course, immediately after the press conference, all the guys came to me, the British guys especially. They were like, wow, that was a very, very bold question. That was a very, very good question. None of us have ever summoned the courage to ask Pep this question. How did you summon such courage? That was what they told me. They were absolutely impressed, because this is a question they have always wanted to ask, but none could summon the courage to ask. And I did it for, it was like I did it for everyone. I did it for the entire the global media. And you could see how they latched onto it to make big stories all over the world. Because that was a question begging for answer. And
So on that, why do you, because obviously this is your field, this is the field that you're in.
Yeah.
Why do you feel that, because as you just said, that it's a question that people want asked, but you asked it. Why don't you think that people want to ask that? Is it because of the intimidation they feel from Pep Guardiola? Is it because they feel like if they ask the question, they may then be shunned from future press conferences? Why do you think that your colleagues, knowing that, since they obviously congratulated you for asking the question, why didn't they ask that question before you did?
Yes. I mean, like you said, I think that could be the reason why a lot of them, couldn't ask the question, because a lot of persons are scared of being shown from future press conferences. Sometimes I feel the same, But interestingly, it has actually worked in my favor. I get more opportunities now to ask questions, because they kind of know that whenever I get the chance, there will be a question that will get the coaches, talking, get them either put them on the spot or even get to knock their egos. So I think that it has even worked in my favor. What a lot of people are scared of, I did, and it seems to be working in my favor.
Okay. So, moving on to that right now, I want to now talk about another
Yeah,
massive moment for you, which was Victor Osimhen. So,
yeah,
I think everyone knows that, and I think it's just the known thing. A transfer isn't a transfer until Fabrizio Romano says
yes,
so. He's made a name for himself, and I
yeah,
think everyone. So every single time I'm out there, people will always tweet me that say, "Hey, oh, half hope." Fabrizio Romano said it. It's in Fabrizio. I'm like, who is this guy? Who's this guy? Who's this guy? People say, no. Fabrizio Romano is that. So, of course, Victor Osimhen, like arguably one of the best young strikers in Africa outright right now, and a guy that obviously, as a Nigerian,
yeah,
following very closely. So then the big thing was, is it Tottenham? Is this Man United? We had Chelsea, we had Liverpool, and okay, Napoli. Oh. But then it seems like if there was something, the Napoli thing seemed very concrete. So as it's now going on, we're now hearing more and more about Napoli, more and more about Napoli. So obviously, I had obviously followed you since the whole Pep thing. So obviously, I was following you. But once the Napoli thing was not becoming real, you came out and said that it's Napoli.
yes.
But nobody, people was like, who is this Nigerian journalist? No. First of all, he's not white. He's not Fabrizio Romano. He doesn't work for BBC or anything. So what's this guy saying? But you were adamant in saying that I have a personal relationship with him.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you put your name out there. You say, I am putting my name out on the line. I'm putting my neck out on the line that he is going to Napoli and they just need to iron out a few details. But people were not really listening to you and people were like, say, no, I'm going to wait until Romano. I'm going to wait until BBC. I'm going to wait until these kind of European hallmarks of reporting rather than the black guy
yeah.
who speaks in a Nigerian accent. Nah, I'm not going to believe that guy because I can't speak be truthful. So
I've got I've got to change my accent.
no, keep the accent. No, please, because you're promoting Nigeria. I told you, that's why I keep my accents as well.
Yeah,
Because it is what it is. So like, it is key that we succeed with our accent. It's very key.
absolutely,
Let's take the
absolutely.
insults, but we have to keep our accent.
Yeah,
So during that whole kind of Victor's, because there's something that you told me when we obviously spoke like about a month
yeah,
ago, that I think the thing that's pained you the most because you understood the trepidation from white people. It is
yeah,
what it is, They're like, well, they're just accustomed to because we live in a world where whites is right, whites are
yes,
formidable, and so forth. So it is what it is. So you just have to say, but what sort of pained you was how Nigerians
yes,
and black people
yes,
were sort of mocking you and didn't believe you
yeah,
because you're Nigerian. So fellow Nigerians would rather believe a
of course.
white dude or a Fabrizio
Of,
Romano than you. So just sort of take me through first off how you got wind of the Victor Osimhen move to Napoli, and then obviously your emotions with regards to people who were obviously doubting. Because again, you based on your job, your currency is your credibility. That's what you
absolutely,
hang your hats on. So
absolutely.
two questions. So the first thing is, how did you get wind of the Victor Osimhen move to Napoli, and what were your emotions, specifically of people who doubted your credibility?
Okay. First thing first, it wasn't something I actually planned. There's something I try to avoid. I don't go to players. I have access to a lot of Nigerian players. A few minutes ago, I was talking to Ahmed Musa actually because some agents want to get him to the MLS and they called me because they know that I have access to them. I called him and he said he doesn't want to go to the MLS. That he's seen enough money. He wants to play now in Europe. That's an aside. So I don't go to players asking them what is your next move because I feel it's a personal question. Players don't talk about it to people, especially to agents. They are careful. Sorry, I say agent, journalists. They like to talk to their agents and their personal persons more, people in their close circle. So I try to avoid, even if I hear something about a player going to a club, I let the player tell me instead of me probing. I don't like to be a guy who people see as wanting to get into people's business. You understand? So but of course, I have contact with Victor. So there was the time the story came out that he was going to Napoli, even when he had not even agreed anything with Napoli. He was in Nigeria trying to bury his dad. And obviously, the agent, his former agent, the one he sacked in the course of the whole drama, was already putting it in the media that Victor had agreed personal terms with Napoli. And that got Victor infuriated. And then Victor contacted me knowing, because I've been covering Victor for years. I've been to Lille. I've done a documentary for the BBC on Victor. I've covered a lot of his Champions League games. So we had become close. But I didn't know that Victor had taken me so seriously. I didn't know that Victor had high regards for me, honestly. So he just sent me a message one day on Instagram and said, I want you to do this for me, put it out there, and debunk the reports flying around that I've agreed personal terms with Napoli. I know that you've got power. I know that when you put out something, there's some level of believability. So I said, Victor, thank you for this. I appreciate this because this gives me more credibility because it's coming from the source directly, from the horse's mouth. So I put it out there. I said, discredit every report that links Victor to Napoli. As of now, Victor has not agreed anything with any club. He's in Nigeria trying to bury his dad, and he wants to focus on that. Boom, that went viral. In fact, that got on the nerves of some Nigerian journalists who felt they had exclusives from the agent side. But now, the player and the agent, as at that time, were not in tandem. But the agent was trying to be ahead of himself by putting it in the media so that the player can feel like, okay, it looks like this thing is gone so far, I cannot back out. So I put out the story and it went boom, viral. And then people became confused. The Italians were like, what's happening? We thought that he's agreed deal with Napoli. Who is this guy saying there's no deal? That was when people started paying attention. And Victor kept me posted as they progressed. He left Nigeria, he went to Europe, and then he told me, okay, it looks like he's going to visit Naples to see what the club looks like, to meet Laurentiis and meet Gattuso. And then I put it out there. And he said to me, Omar, don't worry, I'm going to give you exclusive update from as everything progresses. So, and that was how we started to build up, from that point till when he did the medical that no Italian journalist knew about. Victor did his medical at the famous Villa de Stuart in Rome, where most Italian clubs carry out their medicals. And no Italian journalist knew about it because the medical was done at night after all the journalists waiting had left. Victor did the media medical and left for France. So I broke the news again that Victor has done his medical. Take this to the bank. That was when everyone became more scared. That what is happening here? Nobody in Italy is aware of Victor's medical. And this black guy, who, has a verified handle, seems to be credible, but he's a black guy, we can't really trust him, is breaking the news. When even Fabrizio Romano hasn't broken it. A medical check, because that is an integral part of every transfer. We always hear that a player has signed, has joined a club, but pending medical, blah, blah, blah. So I told the world that Victor had done a medical. And then nobody believed or as well. But later on, and then I kept updating all the meetings that were going on in Lille and everything until it was confirmed in Italy that Victor had done his medical. The Italians started to contact me and telling me, your information is authentic. We have verified every of your information. We respect you. We believe you. You are the hero. And you see, talking about the Nigerians who didn't believe me, unfortunately, a lot of these guys are my colleagues. Some of them were even my junior colleagues who should have known that at the level Oma Akatugba has reached, he would not put his reputation on the line by spreading this information. the level Oma Akatugba has reached, how thorough, how hardworking he is, how he wants to be always in the thick of the action, he will not joke with his reputation. Some of these guys still didn't believe me, not because they don't know how credible I can be. I think that is because why would it be Oma that somebody is giving all this powerful information? So it was as a result of that they were discrediting and then mocking me. And while they were mocking me, they were hoping that my information, my all the information I was putting out weren't true. So I think that was what motivated all of those mockery and lack of respect from a lot of the Nigerian guys. It touched me because, like I said, we have not actually come out of that psychological bondage of believing that the white person is always better. I'm not saying white people are not on top of their game, but but I mean, there are times that they don't get it right, and especially when this is a player of Nigerian, is a Nigerian player. So as a Nigerian, you could have put 1 + 1, 1 + 1 together, and for a person of my level, you know that I've built a very good relationship with a lot of Nigerian players. You should understand that, of course, Omar should have been getting these details from Victor. But none of them wanted to do that just because they didn't want to give honor to whom it was due. And that made me feel bad. But what gave me hope was the fact that the Italians gave me all my respect. The Italians believed me more than any other person on the face of this earth. Even Fabrizio Romano didn't get the Italian journalists believed me more than Fabrizio, because they could tell already that this guy is telling us everything authentic. And they kept coming to me, kept putting me on platforms, radio. If you Google my name right now, you're going to see a lot of articles in Italian, even more.
Oh, no, because obviously I don't speak Italian, but see, I saw the TV thing of the Napoli guys where you were interviewed there and everything.
Exactly.
And
so that was what gave me some sort of encouragement, because those, in my opinion, that truly mattered recognize the fact that I've done a great job. And it's not even just about breaking the story. It was about how I went about it. Sometimes we have to give ourselves credit. People said that they liked the way I went about it, that I did it more like a movie. That even raised the stock of Victor. That even Napolitanos, a lot of them who didn't know much about Victor, were like, who is this Victor? There's been so much noise about this Victor. They started to pay attention. They started to research about him. And to God be the glory, Victor himself and his entourage, they thanked me for a fantastic job. And they were like, wow, we didn't expect you to do it the way you did it. We just thought you could do it as usual, but you took it to another level, added some level of creativity and panache to it. And that made it a bit different. And I think that is something that we can continue, if the players also are willing to play ball.
Okay. So, again, this is in a way related to Pep. There is something that is pinned on your Twitter page.
Yes.
And that is, of course, I would say Pep Guardiola's best friend, Mr. Jose Mourinho. So this is sort of like combining sort of two questions together, because I wanted to ask you, what is the best interview you've had, or the best person that you've interviewed? So because again, so what you have pinned is, of course, Mourinho saying that he's won everywhere.
Yeah.
And when he goes to Tottenham, he'll win. I disagree with that. But we can maybe get into that when we take some questions from the audience. But what is your experience interviewing Mourinho? And would you say he is the most charismatic and the most interesting person to interview? Because for me, I think they are almost polar opposites, Pep and Mourinho. Obviously, Pep is obviously a bit more intense, maybe a bit more guided, but Mourinho is very much a guy who really is oozing charisma and loves the back and forth. So it has been your experiences interviewing Mourinho, and how has he related to you as a Nigerian journalist?
Interestingly, I'm not a fan of Mourinho as a manager. I'm a huge fan of Pep. And that
many people are, yes.
that automatically makes me an anti Jose Mourinho. And also because Jose Mourinho has coached teams that have been that have come up against Barcelona many times, and the encounters haven't been pleasant. I remember El Clasico, even while at Chelsea, his approach at Inter Milan. So I've not liked him, especially because of his approach to the game, his mindset, his me against the world mentality, how he sets up his players psychologically to think that the world is against them, the siege mentality. And because of that, I didn't expect, obviously, the kind of personality or the kind of person that I've come to meet. I've met Mourinho like 4 or 5 times, and I would say that is actually different from the picture that the media portrays him to be. He's like you said, he's a guy that oozes charisma. He's very ebullient. He's a guy that likes to use words, and he's a guy that is interesting to interview. To be honest, I think it's a true confession that Mourinho is a more interesting person to interview than Pep Guardiola. I see the way Pep Guardiola responds to questions. You get the feeling that he's not very comfortable when it comes to questions that puts him on the spot. Sometimes he responds to questions grudgingly and like what sort of a question is that? Mourinho, no matter how controversial your question is or uncomfortable, he would try to give you the kind of answer that he thinks your question deserves. However, Mourinho is more defensive. There are questions I've asked many managers that Mourinho would never accept. For example, the question the question I asked Carlo Ancelotti about whether he's not scared to lose his job if he gets beaten by PSG, and then he lost his job eventually after he lost the match to PSG. Mourinho would have taken it personally. The question I also asked Thomas Tuchel before they played in one of the PSG games, where I asked him how he gets to sleep at night. I will not won the Champions League because at PSG every manager will be, praised on winning the Champions League. How he gets to sleep at night. His response was amazing. He gave a comprehensive answer. He made it interesting. Everyone laughed, and everyone also came to me and said, wow, what a question. We wanted to retrieve this kind of answer from this man all year long. Nobody could, and you have come to do that. So he gave the kind of answer that you want to hear. That is where Mourinho is different. He would not give you, he would almost turn it to a war between you and him. And that sometimes can be embarrassing for a journalist because Mourinho is the superstar. You now start to feel uncomfortable, like you have done something wrong, when in the true sense of the word you haven't. You just asked a question. 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, I asked him a question. I said, you have turned all the players you have coached to fighters, with the exception of Manchester United. How have you been able to do this? The question was intended to actually massage his ego. However, he took exception. He said to me, why did you take Manchester United out? That, I'm sorry, your question does not reflect the true situation of things. And, I felt a bit uncomfortable and started to question myself. I started to say to myself, why did you act with the exception of Manchester United? So that's the difference, actually. However, Mourinho is a very charismatic guy. He's a guy that is interesting to interview. He's a guy that always makes press conferences lively, makes them, interesting. He makes them like a movie, and that's why it's different. However, I have come to also like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Oh,
he's a brilliant interviewing. His responses are always detailed, respectful, and comprehensive. I like him. I always look forward to asking him questions. I think that currently he's one of my best managers in terms of answering questions. Thomas Tuchel is also another one. I like him as well. And then the coach of RB Leipzig, the young guy, he talks a
Nagelsmann,
lot.
Julian.
I think he
Nagelsmann.
has Mourinho's personality, but because he's young and not yet a superstar,
He's very young,
people,
yes.
yeah, people are not taking note. He's also a fantastic manager. I like him a lot.
So, and just quickly on that, and then I want to just ask a few things before we then take it over to the audience, because we will take some live questions for the audience. So, guys, get your questions ready for Oma, and then we'll because I can already see if you're in the live chat. So, get your questions ready for Oma. Toughest person to interview, and someone that's you're like, if you don't want to say, you don't have to say, but okay, how can I phrase this? Not really someone that you don't like interviewing, like somebody who it's hard to sort of get answers from. That you think that you have to think a lot about the questions you answer because they're a bit guarded with their
Jogging Club.
Really?
Yes, he's a German. He's very blunt. Sometimes he will say to you, "What sort of a question is that?" Sometimes he will say, "Are you a journalist?" I mean, these things embarrass the journalist. Because like I said, the coach is the superstar. The journalist is more or less unknown.
Yeah.
And when the coach starts to make a fuse out of a question, everyone turns to you. And people sometimes are not logical. They automatically believe you have done something wrong. And everyone goes, what sort of a stupid question is that? What sort of a stupid question is that? And it makes you very uncomfortable. And Jurgen Klopp, I think, would be that manager.
So, okay, so you see, so every time, so each time, let's say you're about to question Jurgen Klopp, you tend to think a lot more about the questions you're asking.
Yes, and I'll say something now. I shape my questions according to the personality of the manager. With Mourinho, I try as much as possible to massage his ego because he's that kind of a person.
Interesting.
He's a type of a person that wants to be praised more.
Yes.
If you want Mourinho to give you an answer that is newsworthy, the questions must be in his favor. How do you manage to turn your team to manage to get the best out of players? You won everywhere. Do you think you'll win this year? And all those kind of questions. That's why when I asked him a question in March this year in Leipzig, the question that I pinned on my Twitter, I started by saying, you are a serial winner. You've won everywhere you've been to.
Yeah.
Your name is synonymous with trophies. But you are now coaching a club that is not known to winning trophies. And you are facing a lot of injuries. And you must beat Leipzig to advance to the next round of the Champions League. Is this your toughest job as a manager? So the question was fair on him.
I can see how you sort of constructed that.
Yes.
Took it
With Mourinho,
in stages.
You think more. You have to be more constructive. So with people like that, I try to be as friendly as possible. But with Ole, I try to be more tactical. He's a guy who is willing to answer, even if you tell him.
But okay, let me ask this: which is one manager who you can ask anything? You don't even have to think. He will always open up to you, like he's almost an open book. Because I would think that it might be Ancelotti who is very open to answer anything. So which is the one manager who I don't have to think about anything. He'll answer anything.
Ancelotti and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, these two guys.
Okay.
Don't go to Pep with just any question.
Yeah.
Pep is actually the Mourinho in press conferences. He's the very good guy in the media. But in press conferences, he's not my type of guy.
Okay.
It looks like you don't agree with me.
No. I mean, which is why this is so fascinating. I'm sure a lot of guys will find this interesting because you're giving us an insight that we don't know about.
Yeah.
As fans, we see the managers on the touchline.
Yes.
We see them getting interviewed 1v1. and then we just see the press conference.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't even see the full conference, just sound
Yeah.
bites. But
Yeah.
now, because you do this for such a long time and there is a pattern,
Yeah.
you know that, okay, there's a tactic for this manager.
Yes.
There's a tactic for this manager, because managers are not robots; they're human beings.
Yes.
And human beings have very different characters.
Correct.
And
Absolutely.
as a journalist, the end goal is I need an answer.
Exactly. That
This
is newsworthy.
it's like, this isn't about me.
Yeah.
It's about, I need whatever I need to do to get the answer I need. That's
Yeah.
what I need. I can't just ask question. This guy, he likes it direct. This guy, he needs to be massaged a bit. Boom. This guy, I'm not going to get this. But if I do this, then maybe I can do this. I can't do this. I've got to go
Yeah.
here before I come
Correct.
here. So it is interesting, because you know what you are? You're like a psychologist. You
Yes.
guys are psychologists,
Yes.
because
Correct.
you have to read people's personalities and know the way in which you have to ask them questions. Because as you said again, Ancelotti has no ego. So it's like, ask him
Yes.
anything. Solskjaer he hasn't anything.
Yes.
But for like a Pep or Mourinho, they've won so much.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
are such massive names.
Yeah.
They have an ego.
They are revered.
They are revered. So you have to, because again, you need an answer.
Yes.
Because if you ask the question set away, you won't get that answer, and therefore, boom.
Yes.
So
In fact, you will go viral for asking a stupid question.
okay.
And
So
sorry, let me just say this.
go for
And
it.
that is what I noticed that is happening a lot, which is why I have decided to go the way I am going. I noticed that 99.9% of journalists are maybe not scared, but they respect these managers too much. I hear questions like, how is Bergwijn doing? Is he fit for tomorrow? For God's sake. These managers should answer more critical questions. Fans have a lot of questions they cannot answer. Ask, I beg your pardon. And the fans have, most of the times, the real critical questions.
You see, I think, as the guy just said, they never ask the real questions that we fans want.
Exactly.
It feels more like, which is why that question to Pep was so key.
Exactly.
Because that is a question that we want to ask. But it just
Exactly.
seems as if institutions
Yes.
have them shackled
Absolutely.
and say, you need to ask this kind of thing, because we always want to be invited back. Which is why it's
Exactly.
better for you guys, it's better for the independent guys to come through, because you cannot just ask those key questions.
That's it.
Because again, a lot of the questions that are asked, like, yeah, we know this injury. What are you?
Exactly.
Let's get into the nitty gritty,
Exactly.
because
Let's know what is in their minds. The things they pretend not to see, to be honest, they see these things on social media. So they ignore them. Now let's get them to say something about it. And that way, do you know that it gives a lot of fans some kind of closure? Pep Guardiola's answer, it killed all the arguments about whether he needs players like Messi or not. Till date, whenever that kind of argument comes up, people just refer to that video and say, listen,
100%.
finish. And like I said,
No, because my thing is that to this day, every time I have a Pep Guardiola discussion, I always bring up that video.
Exactly.
He said it because the question was asked. If the
Exactly.
question was never asked, I don't have anything to bring forward. So that video is key, because it's like my
Exactly.
example
Until
that I can always bring.
he wins the Champions League, that video will be relevant.
Always. It
And
will
I
always be
pray-
relevant.
And I pray that video goes out of relevance because I like Pep. I want him to win.
Yes.
I want him to win. I pray he wins this Champions League because that is what everyone uses against him. That's what everyone uses against him.
It is.
So let me also say something. Well, I was watching that video on BT Sports. That video, as right now, I'm sure it's reaching 2 million views now. Most of the comments under that video on Instagram, on every platform I've seen that video, is this is the kind of questions journalists should be asking. No one ever asked this kind of question. How come is more or less an outcast?
Yeah.
That is asking this kind of a question.
But you just answered your question.
Yeah.
Only an outcast can answer that kind of question.
Yes.
Because once you're in the system dilutes your personality and you have to follow the rules. Only an outsider who isn't plagued by the system or the institution still has the energy and the rawness of a football fan to come through. So that's why for a Pep, I think they're like, whoa, because they're so used to being asked cannon fodder.
Yes, correct.
So when they ask that, they're like, oh, because as I said, they know because they read social media.
Yes.
But they don't believe that social media is going to come into this hallowed institutions of the source of the sports journalists. So let's. I want to go into this, and doing because we'll take your questions very soon, man. Mm-hmm. I want to go into the best awards, and this will be like our last question before we take questions. So you had Lewandowski, Messi, Cristiano. Did the right guy win? Lewandowski.
Of course, it would have been a travesty if he hadn't, won that award. I mean, it was easy this time because Messi, Ronaldo, wearing at their natural best, like in the Champions League. Imagine a Champions League where either Ronaldo or Messi didn't win the top scorers award.
Because is this the guy who asked Pep Guardiola to speak? I told you, the video is viral. The video is viral. Sorry,
yes, I'm the guy. So it was easy. Lewandowski won everything. He won everything. And not just winning everything, he made huge impact. Top scorer in the Champions League, top scorer in Bundesliga. It would have been a travesty if he hadn't won it. So it's easy. Lewandowski, the right man.
So have you ever interviewed either Cristiano, Messi, or Lewandowski?
No. I have met Ronaldo and Messi twice, but I've not had the opportunity. These guys they are the avant-garde of football.
Mm-hmm.
Even in Champions League games, even official broadcasters, they hardly get Messi and Ronaldo to interview. You notice?
Yeah. The
only time you will see Ronaldo if he scores a hat-trick. That's one pattern I've noticed. Messi, except he scores a goal that gives Barcelona the Champions League trophy, he doesn't go to the press.
That's interesting. Like, I hardly ever see Messi in the press. Yeah.
Only when he's playing for Argentina. That's something I've noticed, and I keep asking why. Why? In Europe, he hardly talks to the press. I've been to a Champions League game in Leverkusen, Juventus Leverkusen. All the Juventus players were walking past gently. Everyone waited for Ronaldo, and Ronaldo breezed past like a whirlwind with security. You needed to see the security around Ronaldo. It's difficult. I've said to myself that one day I'm just going to put my microphone to his mouth. Whatever it does will be big news.
Yeah.
That's my plan.
So I don't say again. This is the age-old talk and everything.
Yeah.
Where do you stand, Messi or Cristiano?
Messi.
Oh, you didn't even pause. You didn't even hesitate.
Of course, Messi. Anytime, any day.
So why Messi?
Messi is a football artist. Messi is a fine footballer. The way Messi plays football is something that you cannot ignore. His understanding of the game, his positioning, is what he brings to his team. You look at how Messi transformed Barcelona's fortune and how he impacted the game. It's difficult to think that there's any player better than him. Ronaldo is a great player. He's a fantastic goal scorer. He's a winner. He's a lion. He's a giant. He's a fighter. But if you talk about the nitty-gritty of football, Messi is it. Messi, for Messi, football is easy. Messi can juggle the ball with an orange. Messi can juggle the ball with a tennis ball. He's done it 11. I'm reading a book right now, written by Guillermo Balaghe. He talked about how Messi was given an orange. He juggled, I think, 100 times. He was given a tennis ball. He did 200 or 500. that everybody was shocked. I mean, that is the kind of footballer Messi is. For me, I like artistry. That's why I like Pep. That's why I like Barcelona then. That's why I like teams like Arsenal, even though they don't win. For me, football is a spectacle. It is about result, yes. But football is now entertainment. If it is all about the result, you can as well just look at live score.
Yeah.
So I like Messi because Messi gives you something to share. Even now, Messi is not in form, but you still want to watch him play. He's not scoring goals, but you still enjoy him, his general play. That is why I like Messi more. You know, Messi for me is like a beautiful woman.
Okay, so let's take some questions because I think a lot of guys want to ask you some questions, man. So guys, please send in questions for Omar, then he will do his best to try and ask most of your questions. So, Omar, thoughts on Klopp? Is he genuine or is it all theatrics in the interviews?
I don't think it's genuine. You can see someone who is playing out a script. I don't think so.
So, because the kind of person that is sort of sold to us, specifically living in England, is Klopp is this happy guy, up and down, very energetic, and so forth. So you feel that is sort of like a kind of facade, that he puts up.
Yes, I think that's a facade. I think that's the image that they want us to see. Even at that, as much as they try to put forward that image of a cheerful, funny, jovial guy, you still see the real Klopp when you ask him uncomfortable questions.
Okay, so has Klopp ever aggressively reacted to you from a question that you asked him?
Not really. I've not even been able to ask Klopp a question. That's the only big manager that has actually escaped my slaughter slap. But I'm coming for him, and I'll make it very controversial.
You have to. You have
to see if he will prove me right or wrong.
You know, because when you get the opportunity, you have to ask him whether the way that he's reacting to his injuries and the thingy is a bit, you know, because it just seems like it's
a bit.
Yeah. Okay, so from Mark, okay, Danny T says that which player is the most interesting player you've interviewed or met?
David Luiz.
Oh, because you see, when you look at his Instagram and so forth, he seems like a very playful, animated kind of guy.
Oh my God, David Luiz is amazing. I saw him in Azerbaijan after the UEFA Cup final, Europa League final, Arsenal Chelsea. You know, after the game, he was passing, and I said, David Luiz, I went so local. I said, David Luiz, please change my life. Grant me an interview. He said, sure, I'll do it. Sure, why not? Because honestly, I didn't expect him to stop. Because some of these big players, they are selective in who they grant interviews. Because they have been trained. They know that if I talk to the BBC, there's more leverage. If I talk to CNN, if I talk to Sky, and they see the microphone. And then there's one guy without any posh-looking camera. Sometimes I'm using my phone. You know, for a player of that caliber to stop was mind-blowing. You know, and it was interesting because I said to him that, do you know you talk like Zlatan? Has anyone told you that? He said, oh, really? No one has told me that. No. I said, tell us about John Mikel Obi, your former teammate. So, Mikel, we were born on the same day, you know, and then he talked about God. It was a very beautiful moment for me. And I think that is the most exciting, most real, natural footballer that I've interviewed.
All right. This is an interesting one. Are football players media trained?
A lot of the European players, yes. Nigerian players, not at all. The European players are, I think that they are benefactors of a society that is developed. You know that when you grow up in a developed society, it automatically influences your mind. The average person in England seems more exposed than the average person in Lagos, Nigeria. Because obviously the society helps you to develop your mind. the British society is like everything is done by you. Everything is written. You read and you follow the instruction, right? But in a place like Nigeria, the society is not so developed, and in turn, it doesn't help you as a person. So the European players are well trained to answer questions, but then again, that is also a reason why sometimes their responses are very drab. They are rehearsed and they don't come from the belly. You see, and sometimes before I ask players questions, I already know what they're going to say. The same general responses, and sometimes too much training is also not good.
So do you then feel that, especially for the European players, then that you sort of need to sort of nurture a relationship to sort of
Yes,
break past that barrier?
absolutely. And as an interviewer as well, you have to be witty too. I think I noticed that players are very jovial people. Footballers are some of the freest people on earth. Sometimes because of their success, we expect them to be some prim and proper human beings. But they're like me and you. Sometimes I forget that I'm older than a lot of the players.
Yeah.
So they are taking up so much responsibility that you then realize that, oh, he's just 23 years old. My younger brother of 23, I see him still like a kid as a Nigerian. Or 18. So when you sometimes speak their language, you're going to get the best kind of answers. And that is what I think is a strategy that I use. And that's why when I interview these players, I see them smiling. It's also something I learned during my BBC training, where we were told sometimes to take away football questions because they hear all this all the time. It's like, how do you feel about that goal? What do you expect in tomorrow's game? I asked David Lewis was responding to a question before I interviewed him. He was talking about God. And I said to him, you were talking about God. How important is God in your life? When you ask somebody such a personal question, you want him to tell you about himself. People are happy when you want them to talk about themselves. So this is something a lot of people don't know about. Everything is prim and proper, formal, and you get the kind of answer that you deserve if you are so formal.
Okay. So what was it like interviewing Sergio Ramos, and where do you rank him among all other defenders?
Sergio Ramos is the best defender in history, in my opinion.
What?
Yes. And that's exactly the question I asked him in Estonia. I said to him, a lot of Nigerians believe, because a lot of Nigerians, again, on Twitter, they are always going about how he's the best defender in the world, actually. But I took it a notch higher by saying to him that Nigerians believe, or a lot of Nigerians believe, you are the best defender in history. And it was all smiles. When I asked the question, he was like, wow, really? Okay, says Marcelo that I'm the best player in history or best defender. Oh, I thank Nigerians. I really don't know that they love me so much there. I thank you so much. I think it's the best defender in history because a defender's
but see, Omar, though, if you take away his goals, is he still the best defender in history? If you take away his goals,
that's where I'm coming. Of course. Like I said, a defender
with all those red cards as well.
That's why he's a good defender, because he puts his heart on the line. He's a defender that holds he holds no ground. He's a defender that takes no prisoner. He's a defender that is brutal. My understanding of defending is brutality. That's why Taribo West remains my best Nigerian defender. Taribo West will kill you. He will kill you. That is, Sergio Ramos is a wide version of Taribo and a refined version. And of course, a more successful version. That's why I put him up there as my best defender in history. He's a thorough defender, very consistent. Of course, for the red cards, it's a minus. However, there's no defender or no footballer that is 100% complete, except Messi.
Did you ever meet Maradona, Zidane, or R9?
I've met R9, I've met Zidane a couple of times. I don't like Zidane. He looks too cold.
Oh, wow. So did you ever have like a conversation with him when you met him?
I've never tried to, because I don't like him. I don't find him interesting enough. I go to his press conferences, I just keep short, and I listen all through. And his relationship with Gareth Bale seems to confirm my reservations. I'm not sure, but I get the feeling that he's not a very, very, very nice guy. I get the feeling. And maybe because of that, my question to him when I decided will be very brutal.
Wow.
I never met Maradona. I only saw him play in '94. I didn't. Okay, in Russia, I didn't see him. In Nigeria's game, I saw him from afar, but
Yeah.
I didn't come close.
Um.
I've met Aruna, of course, many like 3, 4 times.
That's
But,
sorry.
but let me also tell you something about Aruna at Bessie. They are not just superstars because of their talent. They are superstars also by their aura. Oh my God. In Monaco, during the UEFA Awards, the last one we could do before coronavirus shut us all up. Messi, all the stars were coming on the red carpet, all the Czech, all the Patrice Evra, all name it, all the Van Dijk, all the big stars. The moment Ronaldo and Messi landed, you needed to see the atmosphere changed. All the people went into some sort of hysteria. And I saw Ronaldo and Messi at close range. It felt like I was seeing some superhuman beings. The feeling, the smell, even their skin. Bro, that was when I realized that superstars are really not like us. Oh my God, it was amazing.
Oh no! As I said again, like I said, because one of my dreams, like this is my life dreams, is to meet R9. Like that is like he's one of my idols. Like ever since I was young, he's one of my idols. So my aim is because I don't even know what I would do because I came close because there was this FIFA event that I was invited to, but I was close to meeting him, but I just missed him because that is a guy who like that is like my if I can just interview him and that's my thing. That's my thing.
Amazing.
Do you try to get inside information in the transfer window?
Of course. I mean, the Osimhen experience put me in that mood because I now realize how powerful these informations are, how powerful inside details as far as transfer of players can be, and how much it can put you on the radar. The Osimhen story put me somewhere in the minds of many people around the world. And I think, look at what Fabrizio Romano has done with transfers. He has 1 million followers, more than 1 million on Instagram, more than 1 million on Twitter. That is a huge currency in today's world. You know what I'm talking about. As small as I have, I earn a lot of money from Twitter promotions for many corporate bodies. I'm just going to be starting another one tomorrow for a money transfer company. We just finalized today. Imagine I have 1 million, bro. So that is what having inside information on transfers can do for you.
This is an interesting one. How do you handle going to Eastern European countries for Champions League and the Europa League? Do you find their reputation for racism is true?
Interestingly, it is not as bad as being portrayed. In Russia, a lot of Nigerians were amazed by the level of friendliness, of openness of the Russian people. Because we always hear that Russia is the headquarters of racism. But what I have experienced going into these countries have been totally different. Sometimes they're even more friendly than the major European countries. Maybe because in major European countries they have seen enough of us. But in these places it's totally different. And like it is generally, things are usually not as portrayed. Just like people say Africa, yes, we know there's poverty in Africa, there's unemployment, but people tend to now think that everything about Africa is really poverty. You go to Africa and you see the kind of life people live, and you're like, wow, can this be happening in Africa? So it's not really as bad as people tend to portray it. And I always enjoy going to those places because that's what football does. Football exposes you to places you never imagine you will go to. And it gives you an opportunity to travel the world. And travel is a great source of education.
Is Messi leaving, in your opinion?
That's a very
It's
difficult question.
it's very hard because it's
It's
like
hard. It's
mm,
hard because Messi is Barcelona. Barcelona is Messi. Like I'll refer to the book I'm reading. Those two clubs, those two parties, the
mm,
club and Messi, I think they were destined to be together for life. It's like a marriage of man and woman till death do us part. I think, but it's time for Messi to leave. To be honest, I think it's time for him to leave. However, I also fear that he's at the twilight of his career. If he goes to a competitive league like the Premier League, one or two bad nights at the Britannia, the anti-Messis will come out all guns blazing, and it will not be good for his reputation, for all he has achieved. It takes you just one or two bad seasons for the media to completely demystify you.
mm.
And that is why I think that staying at Barcelona will be better. However, you also get the feeling that at this point he should go and enjoy somewhere else. Maybe Paris would be a bit more comfortable because the French league is a given, they must win it. Champions League, PSG is gradually becoming a serious contender.
I mean, but the thing is that as the way that Barcelona are currently they're in debt, hard to buy players.
Yeah,
PK is older, Busquets is older.
Messi's wages.
His wages. I mean, do you think how realistic is it? Because Messi wants a Champions League. That's why he said in his interview that he feels he's still competitive enough to compete for the Champions League. So, do you think that there's any argument that can be made that Messi can win the Champions League with Barcelona?
Well, with the Barcelona I'm seeing today, no chance. And I don't know when that will change. And Messi has not so much time on his side. He has to enjoy one more glory day before he calls it quit. And that seems to be outside of Barcelona. PSG, Man City, those two teams I think will win the Champions League between now and next year. This year, maybe PSG, maybe Man City. I feel that those two teams, I think that the reason why they've not even won this Champions League sometimes is the small margins. Man City especially, they've always been knocked out by some errors, VAR.
So okay, so actually, I think it's even the good question says. So this is going back to the Messi Iniesta thing.
Yeah.
So do you believe that Pep can win the Champions League with players like KDB or Aguero, who are good but they're not Messi? So you think that's Pep can? Okay. What do you think is missing from Pep? Do you think it's just unlucky, or do you think Pep is maybe overthinking and he has to be blamed for trying to think too much and micromanage too much? Because again, why did he play that formation against Lyon? If you played a simple formation, it could have been cool. Why did he put De Bruyne on the bench in the first leg against Tottenham? So is it bad luck or should Pep take some of this blame?
I think it's a combination of both bad luck and over elaborating. Pep Guardiola is intense, that's why it's going bad. He's a guy who thinks a lot. He's a guy, that's why they call him the genius. He's a guy who likes to tweak things, who likes to be very creative. And that's how he sets up his team. Pep Guardiola, you can't understand him. Even sometimes you see his setup, you're like, what's happening here? He can completely change things. And that sometimes is his greatest undoing. Even at Barcelona, at the tail end of his time at Barcelona, he started to do too many changes here and there, and that affected him. So, but I think his the biggest reason why he hasn't won the Champions League for me would be bad luck. It's either there's one error that gets him knocked out. Look at last season against Tottenham. No, not last season, the season before. That was where I felt Pep needs a lot of luck. Pep completely was better than Tottenham, and somehow he didn't qualify because of a VAR goal, that was disallowed. And then last season against Lyon, I just feel that Raheem Sterling, did. Someone said to me that Raheem Sterling basically made up his mind to make sure Pep doesn't win the Champions League because that was his greatest chance. I don't know if he could have beaten Bayern, but he could have done better than PSG because we're talking about Man City here.
Yeah.
So I think it's more of bad luck, and I hope that he gets lucky maybe this year. If he gets that luck, he will win the Champions. Like Tuchel said when I asked him that question, he said, "Look at Pep. Look at many of my managers. Those small margins are sometimes." The determinant factor. My battery is giving me signs. I need to charge it.
Okay.
I might change the position of my camera. I hope it's okay.
Oh no, it's cool. Oh cool.
Hold on. Ah. Don't worry, they will not see me. No, I've changed it. They will see you. Don't worry. I won't. Don't worry. Can you please? Oh my God. Can you please give me one extension so I can? Right now, I want just to get volume. Okay, no problem. Just give me a minute. Let me take an extension.
No problem. So guys, keep on sending those questions in, man. Keep on sending those questions in. So me and Oma will try and answer as many questions as we can. So any football questions, journalism questions, anything like that.
On YouTube, yeah.
Yeah, you're live on YouTube. We're live on YouTube.
Okay.
So send in any questions, guys. You know, try and make them some interesting ones, man. You know, we'll try and give our honest takes.
Okay, I think I'm good now. Yes, I'm good now.
Okay.
I hope it's charging. Sorry, let me just see if it's charging. Yeah.
Hello. Okay. Hopefully we can get Oma back.
Okay, are you there?
Yeah, we're here.
Are you there?
Yeah. Hello?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Maybe give it time. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2.
Hello?
1 2. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you. I can hear you. I can't hear you. I can hear you.
Let me see my battery. Oh. Hello?
Can you hear me? 1 2 1 2 1 2.
Hello? Oh my God.
Yeah. Sometimes this whole sound thing is it does it like this. See, I can hear you. Maybe I put it in a I can hear you, but you can't hear me.
This is not fuck up. Oh. This is not big fuck up.
I can hear you. Can't hear me.
Yeah, but I cannot hear you.
You can't hear me. You still can't hear me? Hello. Okay. Oh, maybe he'll come back. Maybe he'll come back soon. So, because this is actually a good question by Mark. So he'll hopefully come back soon. Let me send him a message. Wait, come back in again. But you see, that was actually really interesting. What he was saying about Klopp, you know, because you'd think that the way that Klopp presents himself, like you can Klopp, he's like the smiling German, but he isn't though. Aha, here we have it. Can you hear me?
Sorry, I noticed something. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but it's breaking.
Okay, I think maybe it will come back soon.
It will peak. I don't know. StreamYard does that at the beginning.
Yeah, it does that.
You need some time to clear the audio. I don't know why. I think what happened to my iPhone, because I put the charger, it took the audio away.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think it sometimes does that. If you put in a charger or something, it will take away audio.
You know, because of the charger, the audio, I think he automatically thought that I put in an earpiece.
Oh, okay, yeah, and then it then changes the whole audio output. So, if you could have one exclusive interview,
including Messi, Cristiano, Pep, Mourinho, I think I'll take Cristiano and Mourinho.
No. So excluding them. So not any of them.
Sorry.
So excluding them. So not Messi, not Cristiano, not Pep, not Mourinho. who would you
It has to be
interview?
one, yeah.
No. Not any of them. So it can't be Messi, Cristiano, Pep, or Mourinho. Who would you interview apart from those four?
Okay, if you have one, if you could have one,
Yeah, what's just one? Yeah.
I would take Ronaldo. Ronaldo. I
Wait.
mean,
So
I
so
mean,
is this R9?
this audio is messing up.
Hello. Is the audio still cracking?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly well. Can you hear
Okay.
me?
Should I answer the question?
Yes. Answer the question. Answer the question.
Okay. I mean, I would take Ronaldo because I mean I'm a huge fan of Messi. Like I said, Messi is the best player in the world. However, I'm a huge fan of Ronaldo's personality. Ronaldo is my type of person. He's very lively. He's very, sociable. Is a guy who likes to be in the limelight, and he's a guy that is interesting. I mean, and we all know that Ronaldo is the poster boy of world football. He's the most celebrated sports person in the world, and he's the most followed pop celebrity on social media.
So wait, can you hear me? Is my voice still crackling?
Now it's better.
Aha, good. So the question is, you can't say Messi, you can't say Ronaldo, you can't say Pep, you can't say Mourinho. So not those four. Apart
Oh,
from those four.
Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Ah.
That's a maverick. I like people like Zlatan. I like people who think outside of the box. People who are different. They don't go with the crowd.
Yeah.
Zlatan. I watched some videos. Some of Zlatan's interviews that were put together, and it was such a mixture of comedy and knowledge. He's a brilliant guy and he's very witty. I like to speak with such. I like to interview such people. Another guy I would like to interview is Balotelli. I like to find out why
He would.
he is the way he is. He's a special guy. He's an interesting personality, and it's something I like to find out more about. And because of the kind of person I am, the way I ask questions, I have a feeling that Balotelli will enjoy an interview with me. So these guys, I look forward to interviewing them one day.
Okay, and then this was a thing from Young. Says, shout outs to HH and Oma. You guys have very interesting and funny takes on football from a fellow Niger boy.
Thank you.
Thank you. How many years will it take Manchester United, aka Boychester, to get back to that elite level in terms of the EPL and UCL powers? Is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer really the guy to lead them forward? Who is? I know that you speak highly of Solskjaer with regards to interviewing him, but I don't think he's the right man to take them forward. I don't think they can win a trophy with Solskjaer.
I agree with you. I think that they need a coach in the class of Jurgen Klopp, Pep Guardiola, and Jose Mourinho. Okay, Jose Mourinho, no, because he was the last guy. He was the guy that Ole succeeded. But they need a manager in that mode. A manager who is bold enough, who has the bravery to really, tactically sound, of course, and of course, who has the bravery to really lead a club as huge as Manchester United. Is a very big club. Actually, bigger than Ole.
Do you think Pochettino would do a good job though?
Pochettino is a fantastic manager, but I don't think he has the personality to coach a club as big as Manchester United.
And remember, for as good as he was, he never won a trophy.
Exactly. United is a
Tottenham,
trophy-winning club. They want people who have won trophies, who can bring that mentality to United and then reposition United again as a club that competes for the Premier League title and can compete favorably in the Champions League. United are out of the Champions League in the first round. That is a disgrace. And that is the reason why United needs a coach bigger than Ole, a coach who has the personality. I'm thinking of a manager right now that would fit,
Allegri doesn't have a job. Benitez doesn't have a job.
Allegri is, for me, a fantastic choice. He's a fantastic manager. I still cannot understand why Juventus sacked him. In this moment, I cannot understand why you sacked Allegri and went 4 steps below for the former guy, the teacher, the banker, and then went to an ex-player who had no experience. It says a lot about the Italian system generally, something I think I know about, but it's more or less like Nigeria, where the more you look, the less you see, the more things change, the more they remain the same. So I think Allegri is the kind of manager that United will need to really put that club back where they belong. With Ole, I think they will continue to gaze into an empty air.
Thoughts on Mbappe's situation at PSG? Has he declined? Which club should he move to next?
I think Mbappe, that's a good question. I feel that Mbappe has declined. I think that maybe the competition is not stiff enough. Because at PSG, he will always play. In the French league, he will always win games. He will always score. I mean, with due respect, I can't remember any player I know who went to France that didn't score. Victor Osimhen became Victor Osimhen because he was playing in the French league.
Yeah.
I get the feeling that the level of understanding of football in that league is not too high, especially for the defender.
But do you feel that Mbappe has declined from the guy that we saw at Monaco and at the World Cup in 2018 to the guy that we're seeing now, who you're in what I call this holiday camp at PSG, you're sort of being very influenced by Neymar, and you're allowed to do what you can. Because again, people now call him now like a pace merchant, with regards that he was a guy that played intelligently at Monaco, but right now he's just relying on his speed. Has he declined? Does he need to move and make that step to a Real Madrid or a Liverpool?
100%. He has to actually go to one of those clubs or a club in that level where he doesn't have an automatic shirt, where he can be put on the bench because there are 5, 3, 4 players fighting for that spot. Like I said, at PSG, there's no competition. In the French league, PSG will win the French league with their team B. That's how how easy it is for them to win the French league. I think he has declined. In fact, this question brings my thoughts completely out because I've been thinking about Mbappe for a long time. I look at him, I asked myself one day, I said, when last did Mbappe influence any big match? I'm not talking about those matches against Brest and Nimes and Angers and all those people. I'm talking about against Real, against Manchester United, even against RB Leipzig. I've seen only Neymar influence games. Even when he doesn't score, you see Neymar being brought down 100 times, getting into tackles.
Everything goes through Neymar. Everything goes through
Neymar. The only guy who makes attempt to break down defenses individually, because PSG is an individual team. It's not a spectacular team.
No.
That's why you could see how they basically struggle to beat United. I mean, even the second leg, United, they were in for the taking. They were there for the taking. United have themselves to blame. Martial, Rashford, Cavani, of course, not his fault. That was a beautiful, beautiful effort. Just couldn't get in. United would have roasted PSG even before PSG found, their ointment again. So Mbappe has declined. I agree with that 100%. This has been my thought, and I'm going to put it out on Twitter very soon. The reason why I've not put it out, I looked at his goals, his scoring goals, and I'm like, am I wrong?
You're not wrong because this is why I always say I call it DOD. It's called degree of difficulty.
Yeah.
Like you are only as good as who you face.
Yes.
So if you're playing for PSG and you're scoring 50 goals a season, what does that mean when you have a team that is so superior to everyone that you face?
Exactly.
So for someone on PSG, you are judged upon what you do in the Champions League. And the only time Neymar has been fit throughout the entirety, you can hate Neymar all you want. I know that there are many ways of it that you can hate Neymar on his antics and so forth. The only time Neymar has been fit for the entirety of the Champions League campaign, they made the final.
Exactly.
And it was one goal in it. That was his influence.
Exactly. And now this is why I think he has declined. At the early stage of his time at PSG, people made jokes that he left Barcelona because he didn't want to be in the shadows of Messi, and now he's in the shadows of Mbappe. And since then, I've only seen Neymar in friends games. So I'm like, who is in whose shadow now? Is it Mbappe in Neymar's shadow? Because Neymar, nobody can tell me Neymar is in Mbappe's shadow except you are trolling. Nobody.
No.
So I think he has declined. He has declined, or maybe stagnated. Because I mean, you look at his goals, it's difficult to criticize him. That's why I've been holding my breath or my thoughts. But when you look at it critically, I think you agree with me that it's stagnated. I think that's a better word.
So what is the biggest difference covering a Champions League final and a World Cup final?
Wow, I think it's more. It's like looking for the difference between London and Berlin. You hardly find a difference because these are two major capitals, cosmopolitan, very international. The World Cup is just slightly, up there because of that how symbolic it is. Because the World Cup is seen as the biggest sporting event or football event. But somehow, bro, personally, I feel there's no major difference. The Champions League, in my personal opinion, is a much more tougher tournament than the World Cup. Yes, this is my opinion. The World Cup just carries more weight because obviously it is a national team event. Nations are behind it, and all of that, favor attached to it. The Champions League is a special tournament. The Champions League final is amazing. The experience is mind-blowing.
So okay. So you say that the Champions League is tougher than the World Cup.
I think so. This is my opinion.
So here's my
Mourinho has also said that before.
Look, of course he would. Of course he would because he's in the Champions League. But see, my argument against that is this.
Yeah.
Champions League, you have teams. So when you look at the top teams, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, and so forth, these are multi-million-dollar teams that have been assembled by a lot of money.
Yeah.
They trade more.
Yeah.
They're together more.
Yeah.
So therefore, there's a better chance of you being much more acclimatized to your players in
true.
sync, and you can cherry pick the players you want for a particular system you want to play.
Yeah.
In a World Cup, you only have a month before the tournament starts. Throughout the year, friendly here, so you hardly have any time. The margin of error is much thinner because you have so little training time, and once it starts, you can't lose. And remember, it's only one game. You're not playing over two legs.
Also, you can't even change your players.
You can't change players. What you have is what you have, and you have to deal with what you have. So you have to rely upon the cultural identity of how your country interprets the sport of football. And so that I want to come to with Nigeria. So my thing is that why it's difficult is because your club is, as much as you kiss the badge and so forth, Pele even said it, they kiss the badge one season, they kiss the badge of another team the other season.
Yeah, good.
So, but the country, as soon as you play one game for your country, senior level, that's it, you can't change.
Yeah.
And the thing about country is, even those Croatias, I think like that, it's your country.
Yeah.
So you're facing guys who are now play at a much higher level. It's not a club, this is your line of work.
Yeah.
Yes, you want to do it, but for your country, this means something. So every game has an extra weighting because you guys are now putting even much more passion and effort because this happens every 4 years. It's every 4 years and you're representing your nation, this is your family, your upbringing, your history. When you're a baby, your family is coming to watch you and the patriotism of saying your national anthem. So with all of that, increases the difficulty of why it makes it's so hard. Which is why I said that it's slightly more difficult.
I think you have a superior argument, and I sign on with that.
So with regards to Nigeria, how's Nigeria lost their way with regards to football? Because it's a conversation that I had with my brothers is that so back in the day, back in the 90s, like my first World Cup was the 94 World Cup, but back in the day, the beauty of the World Cup was this is how Italy interprets the sport. This is how Nigeria interprets it, Brazil and so forth. What was so crazy about that Nigerian team in 94 was guys had never seen a team play like this.
Yeah.
Because the way Nigerian played football, it's so unorthodox.
Yes.
And the way they are moving with the ball and how they interpret what they're doing with the ball, people had never really seen that before. And then 98 was just obviously a much better team. We don't know about what happens with Denmark. But then what now happened was, see, Westerhoff, because I on a flight, I sat next to Westerhoff's wife,
Oh, really?
who is Nigerian. Yeah, I sat next to her, and we had like a conversation
Wow,
and so forth.
interesting.
So, see, Westerhoff, because he was so embedded in Nigeria, he knew what Nigerian football was. Same thing with Bonifred Joe.
Yes, yes.
But with these guys now coming in, these European guys who you've not lived in Nigeria, you don't know what it's about, they are imposing a European mentality into Nigeria. Now,
You don't like that.
no, but Omar,
You're supposed to like that. You're in Europe.
no, but Omar, just logic states, if a Nigerian team is trying to adopt a European philosophy against a European team where it comes to them naturally, who is going to win?
Of course,
The
Europeans.
team that comes to them naturally. So, for you, where do you think Nigerian football is right now?
I think Nigerian football is at a crossroad because we are basically trying to find an identity. And, I think your analysis is spot on. People like Westerhoff spent a long time not just working in Nigeria, but working through Nigeria. They were able to understand the sensibility of our players. They were able to understand how Nigerian players interpret football. And that helped them to build a kind of a team that made the world go like, wow, who are these guys? Nigeria was voted the most exciting team at that World Cup. Nigeria ranked number 5, highest FIFA ranking position ever. Because of the kind of football people like Westerhoff, produced. Joe Bonfrey at the Olympics. I mean, despite all of the shortcomings before the Olympic Games, how the team couldn't pay hotel bills. Jonathan Akpobore, one of the players, how he told me how they had to pay for. They rented a bus themselves, all those nonsense. They still went to the Olympic Games and shocked the world. So I think Nigerian football is at a crossroads, but Ganotoa is trying to find some sort of identity. He's trying to...
Is he the right man?
I will be very biased. I have a relationship with him. I talk to him on WhatsApp. Okay. Luckily enough, some of the players I back. He has given them a chance in the national team. Maduka Okoye, number 1 of them. Ganotoa has made him the guy he is today. So I give that credit to him. As a result, it is difficult to be critical of him. But I think that if you look at his win ratio since he became the coach, of course, they say stats are like bikinis. They reveal a lot, but cover the most parts. However, we still have to deal with stats because they say numbers don't lie, right?
Yeah.
His win ratio is not bad since he took charge in 2016. However, where I have a grouse is that he's not yet found stability. That's important. If after 4 years you have not found stability, then something is wrong. And you have not found a style of play. You still even haven't found a first 11. I don't know how long you want to continue to experiment. That is my only grounds. I also think that he needs to improve his management of games, his game reading ability. Sometimes that is where he misses it. But in terms of his general management of the team, bringing in players, there's a lot of fairness in his invitation of players. If a player is doing well, Ganotoa follows him, he gives him a chance, and sometimes sticks with that player even when the player is not doing too well. Because he believes this player has something that is yet to really deliver. So, and that has brought some level of competition to our national team, which is something we've always clamored for. Competition for places. In every department, you have 2, 3, 4 players who are good enough. And then he's lucky to have to be the coach in an era where a lot of young Nigerian players are doing okay at their clubs in Europe. We saw Taiwo Awoniyi score today for Union Berlin. Simi Nwankwo is scoring in Italy. Paul Onuachu is scoring in Belgium. Players doing well across Europe. Leon Balogun, Alex Iwobi. You can go on and on. But he needs to harness this talent to find a solid style of play for Nigeria, and above all, win a trophy. It's time you won, because Nigerians are growing impatient. Cameroon, I think, will be the final bus stop. If it doesn't win in Cameroon, Nigerians will go all guns blazing. I have also told him that I think it's time you won a trophy. You were close in Egypt. You lost to a superior Algerian team, a team I think you could have beaten, because they also had moments where they went to sleep.
Yeah.
If you had your tactics spot on, I think you could have, pounced and beaten that Algerian team. But let's say the Algerian team was a better side or way better side. Cameroon, there will be no excuse. He has to win. Otherwise, he will be regarded as a coach that really didn't do anything, because we have not had stability. We have not been able to find an identity. At least if we win a trophy, that will cover up for all of these other shortcomings.
From Ogopa, he says, how serious is Osimhen's injury? Do you know what his return date is?
Well, from how long he has been out shows it's serious, right? When it happened, we thought it was just a dislocation. We thought dislocation, okay, the shoulder will be fixed, and maybe after some days it will be solid, he will be able to play. But we have realized that it was much more serious than we thought. But I think he's close to returning. I spoke to him a few days ago, because there was a report in Italy that Victor will be out till 2021. And I got calls from all the Italian radio stations, even Soccer Italia. They usually always confirm from me before they publish. And then they say to me, should we quote you? I say, go ahead, quote me. They were asking me, I said, well, it's not like 2021 is 365 days to come. It's just 20 days or even 10 days.
Yeah.
So I think that's just being sensational. Journalism. Victor is ready, is fit, but they are just being cautious. And I think that Victor will feature in their last game before the end of 2020. However, he might feature in the first game of 2021, and that doesn't mean he's out for the next 5 months. Victor is ready, is fit, and he will soon play again.
So, I mean, obviously with the death of Maradona and everything, and the Napoli Stadium being renamed after Maradona, and this season just seems strange because it's COVID, fixture congestion, and so forth. And I really think that anything is going to take it, because again, I just think the concept is crazy of Juventus winning 10 Serie A titles in a row. That in itself I just think it's an embarrassment for the league.
It's an indictment on the league.
No, because I say because you'll just look onto Wikipedia and just see so an entire decade, Juventus just said for an entire decade, but there was no Champions League in there. So my thing is, with Osimhen, who I just think is such a effective striker.
Yeah.
Because it's almost as if it's almost like a taller version of Amunike.
Yes.
Because again, what people forget about Amunike was that he had a serious injury when he went to Barcelona.
Yeah.
See, Amunike was a very good striker, and he was actually better than Amokachi. It's just that he had that injury at Barcelona and he couldn't really make an impact. But Amunike was really Nigeria's best striker.
And very skillful.
Very, 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 very skillful, and also very tough, because he had basically almost like R9. Strong, tough, but also skillful as well, and technical. Yeah. So with Osimhen, how likely do you think Napoli could potentially... Because if it would be so poetic, if this season, they won it this season for the death of Maradona, how likely do you think Napoli... When it's okay, AC Milan are top now, so this is really open, and Pirlo, this is his first job. So if there is a season for Napoli to take it, it would be this season. How good are their chances, do you think?
I think I agree with you, because now, I mean, just like every league in Europe, it's very interesting now. There's a wave of change blowing across the European league. Look at what's happening in Spain. In Germany, Bayer Leverkusen are on top. There's some level of there's a break in the status quo right now across Europe. And this is a time for teams like Napoli, for example, in Italy. And they seem to be doing okay. And without Victor, imagine if Victor was in the team. I think that this is the best time for them to go at the top prize, because to have it go at the top prize. Because before now, Napoli didn't play with a known centre forward, and they now have a Victor who will give them precision. It will give them that needed cutting edge. I saw them against Barcelona. I was like, hey, these guys play good football, but they lacked cutting edge. And now they have Victor, who is an out and out striker, like your Rashidi Yekini, always well positioned, to put the ball at the back of the net. So with Victor, there will be some kind of precision, some kind of purpose for them going forward. With all the Insigne, all the Lozano, all the Dries Mertens playing around Victor, and all of them with the potential to also score goals, I think that they will be much more solid. And so far, it's looking like that. Victor has brought a breath of fresh air to the Napoli side and gives them a bit of more purpose, like I said, more cutting edge in front of goal. And that would help them so much this season. Like you said, I completely agree. I think that this is the season where Napoli can truly, genuinely challenge for the Scudetto.
Okay, now this is a really good one. So guys, we'll maybe have about 6, 7, 8 minutes before we come off. So
Okay.
send in your last few questions before we roll off. Who do you think will be the next bearer of world football? Haaland, Felix, Dembele, or Mbappe? I'm liking João Felix a lot.
Yeah, but you didn't include Neymar. I think Neymar's time has come.
No, it's past.
No,
It's past.
bro,
Neymar's time has passed.
Bro, hold on.
It's past.
Hold on. As we speak, I think if you look at performance, Neymar is in contention for the World Player of the Year award. But now let me stay with the
for doing what in France? Against who?
Now the Champions League will be the yardstick, not what he does in the French league. If he can lead PSG to win the Champions League, it will be in top contention. But let me stay with these guys because these are still young players. Neymar has passed, like you said, going by his age, his chances are slim. Take out Mbappe. Mbappe is already seeing himself as an accomplished star. And that might...
Which is weird because he's still in his early 20s.
Yeah, but, people have... Sometimes people believe the hype. He's won the World Cup. He's scored a lot of goals for PSG. He's won the French league. Of course, no Champions League. But when players win the World Cup, they feel like they've done everything.
Yeah.
Sometimes it gets into their head. They feel like they've succeeded even more than people who have won the Champions League. So Mbappe doesn't see himself anymore in the class or in that group with Haaland, Dembele. In that case, I'll go for Haaland. Haaland is special. He's a spectacular footballer. He's a very, very, very hungry player.
Would you call him a spectacular footballer or a spectacular striker?
Okay, a spectacular striker. I think that's better. A spectacular striker, and he's a striker that does his job effectively well. He scores 3 goals today. You are still in the euphoria, and he comes up with 5 in the next game. And I used to think that he was a fluke. I used to think that he did all this in Norway and in Austria. We're talking about Bundesliga. And he did it in the Bundesliga, and then he did it in the Champions League. And he's still doing it. You watch Dortmund's game, they score a goal, you look at live score, it's Haaland. So is the guy that will be next in line. However, I think that it doesn't look like a star. Sometimes these awards take into consideration how famous a player is. Because tell me, that is why I think sometimes Messi and Ronaldo are always in the equation. Because their stardom is so huge.
But my thing though is that I just think that everything changes. Like again, when you look back in the 90s, it was very much about, because I always say to people like you could literally name 6, 7, 8 quality players back in the day: Kluivert, Bergkamp, George Weah, Del Piero, and so forth. Right, and this has just been the thing of like these 2 guys, one and two. So I think that when Messi and Cristiano retire, we're going to see something completely new. So I don't think they will be judged by what Messi and Cristiano brought. So
I think
maybe
that's a good
Haaland will
point.
represent a new type of now I'm the main guy right now because Messi and Cristiano, they've just defined what it means to be a main guy. But once they now go, because
Yeah.
I don't think we'll ever see the kind of cult following
Yes.
that
No.
Messi and Cristiano have brought. And my
Yeah.
thing was about Messi and Cristiano is that I don't know how you feel about this. Do you think their lack of winning a World Cup should be questioned more? Because can you truly be a GOAT without winning the World Cup, the most hallowed prize?
Well, I mean, I think yes, you can, because if you base a player's greatness on just winning one trophy, the World Cup.
It's not just one trophy, Omar. It is the trophy.
Yes, I know, the biggest of all time. However, you can also be critical and sometimes analyze the player's quality, how the player have impacted the game, and it's difficult, you know. However, I think that Ronaldo and Messi's greatness is based on what they have done individually for their teams and the trophies they have won and how much they have led the game globally. You can also understand the reasons why they have not won the World Cup. For Ronaldo, it is clear Portugal hasn't had the kind of team that is good enough to win the World Cup.
They were defending European champions coming into
But
2018.
look at how they won that European Cup. They
They
were
still
third
won
in
it.
their group.
Okay.
They were third in their group. They were not one of the best. Those are the kind of teams you see won by fluke, to be honest. So you still question their quality because of the circumstances and how they, if there was no third team qualifying, Portugal would not be talking about winning the European Cup. Argentina, they reached the final. They did well. Argentina actually played in 4 finals. Penalty miss, one mistake, they have lost all the finals. So I'm saying here, so somebody is telling me that because Götze scored, Higuain missed, Messi is not great. I don't think that is fair because
But
on
he
his
had,
own,
Omar, he had his chances.
yes,
Messi had his chances in that
okay,
thing.
good.
If you're so great,
Let me say this. If not Messi, Argentina would not even play in the second round or even think of playing. He scored their only goals, all their goals in their first 3 games. And many times the commentators were saying Argentina has only Messi because it was a team that looked disjointed, especially in the group stage.
in 2014,
Yes, bro. If they weren't this, they struggled against Iran. They struggled against
but then Omar,
Bosnia.
I can also say to you as well as that, who scored the winning goal against Belgium? It was Higuain.
Yes, I agree.
Who made that key tackle on Robin in the semi when Messi disappeared? It was Mascherano.
I agree. Messi didn't disappear. Messi was cramped actually because those were the business end of the tournament. People knew that we have to focus on Messi.
There was an APB out for Messi. I couldn't find him in that semi-final. I looked everywhere. I couldn't find him.
I understand. However, you can also agree with me that after all the analysis, there were players. All the players had one game where they were off. All players. I don't think there was any player at that World Cup that was special in all the games. Even Zidane, when Zidane won the World Best Player award, we can argue that he had only 2 games: semi-final where he scored 2 goals, semi-final and final. So players have their key moments in tournament, but you have to put all of the indices together. That's why Messi won the MVP. People were arguing because people didn't.
He didn't deserve that. He didn't deserve that.
You think so?
No way.
Messi had Man of the Match award in 4 games. I think 4 or 3 games.
Most of those games were in the group stage. In the critical games, where was he? So I think it was like a sympathy award. You see, for me,
bro,
why
do you think group games were not critical? If you don't win those games, you won't qualify. Messi actually saved Argentina.
No, but my thing is that the games get harder the further you go through group. No, every game is important. But the second round is more important than the group game. The quarterfinal is more important than the semifinal. As you go through, the level of difficulty goes higher and higher because we're now sifting away all of the teams. So it's the best that now comes into the last few.
Yeah, but you have to win the group game to read the other games. And the only reason Argentina were even had any chance was Messi. He scored against Nigeria was
3-2.
3-2. He scored 2, right?
Yeah.
Against Bosnia, he scored the only goal. And against Iran, they were almost going, it was almost not going to be, it was going to be a draw. So, and we know also how he helped single-handedly took Argentina to the World Cup. You remember in Bolivia, in Quito, there's no way you can rule out Messi's impact on this Argentine team, except that in key moments, something somehow failed him. That's what I'm saying.
And that's what makes the greatest, that in critical moments, do you come through? Like R9, also World Cup, knee injury, they said he was done. At every critical moment, he said, I'm here, puts the pressure on my shoulders, I will come through. Turkey, I scored the only goal. Final, I scored the only 2 goals. So for Messi, I agree. You did everything in the group stage and so forth. But what defines you as a great is at those key moments, you come through at the critical moments to help us to come through. And that is just where Messi is lacking. Because, as I said again, I would say he would always be a better player than Cristiano. Anybody, see, it is the debate doesn't make sense. Because if it's a goal scoring debate, okay, let's have it. If it's a footballing debate, there's no debate. Messi is clear. But my thing now is those intangibles of character, mentality, belief, like when it happens. And I just think that's for Messi, which is why I've always said Maradona is ahead of Messi, because Maradona, he will come through at those key moments because of his mentality.
Yeah, and even his personality. That's the truth. Again, that's also one of his greatest undoing. His personality. I mean, like I always tell people, Maradona, what's the word? Maradona was able to, I think I've lost the word. Maradona somehow didn't manage his greatness. I mean, with due respect. When I heard he died at 60, I was shocked. Maradona shouldn't have died at that age. Because he couldn't tame his, what's the word? He couldn't tame his, I forgot the word.
Lifestyle.
He couldn't tame his vices. Let me use that word.
Yeah.
He couldn't tame his vices. And for such a great player, his death was atrocious.
So let's just again round this off. So again, thank you so much for coming through. So looking ahead to 2021 now, just to tell the viewers, because remember guys, you can follow Oma. His link to his Twitter is down there in the description box below. So please follow his Twitter. Link is in the description box below. So looking ahead to next year, I mean, what are your future plans? Company wise, what do you want to do? Do you want to grow your company? Where do you want to take your career in the future? What does a 2021 and beyond look like for you?
Okay, first, I think I've built a following that is large enough to basically control. I use platforms that I don't have control of. I want to have more control of my platform. I hope to have a platform where my content are consumed, more like an application. I've got a website, but I want to scale it up to an application where all of my content can be consumed by those who like my work all over the world. I also want to do I want to basically do more Pan-Africa rather than, I do more of Nigeria in terms of player promotion. I'm very interested in promoting African talent. In 2021, I want to go more into Africa as a continent and promote the quality and the talent that we have in Africa.
Okay.
I also want to be able to offer more entertaining content also to an African audience. I always think, now I'm thinking more Pan-Africa. I want to have a platform that is enjoyed in Tanzania, in Swahili, that is enjoyed in Kenya, that is enjoyed in Nigeria, that is enjoyed across Africa where they love football. Of course, you love European football all over Africa. So I feel I'm in a very vantage position. It's not going to be, what I'm doing now will not change. Champions League coverage, interviews, but I'll try to channel them in a way that I sell it to a number of audience across Africa that I can as well monetize, so that we can enjoy the good life while enjoying our passion.
So how will that differ from what super sports do in Africa? How will the
It
other
will
things
differ
differ?
because it's going to be what do you call it? Direct to your mobile phone.
Okay.
Yes,
So
it's going to
okay,
be,
so as an app.
yes, as an app or anything different, but it will be direct to your mobile phone. And I want to also bring up a lot of young guys, around Africa to be part of the train, so that I can also help them also take their careers to another level in journalism, in content creation, in reporting, in news writing, in content curation and creation. Because it's also important to have an eye for content. I have a few guys working on my website. I always have to send them content and say, do this story. This is a story that people will like. I always wonder, why do I have to say to them, how come they can't see that Pep Guardiola died? And I said to him, that's a good story. He did it, and he saw the numbers, and he was like, wow. I said, you know these kind of stories will get people reading. A big player like this is dead, even though it's not a breaking news. Somehow 5,000 people will see it through you, no matter how much it is already out there. So strategic thinking, strategic approach to content creation is very important. So I want to bring up a lot of young people as well. And then also, one of the things I want to do in 2021 is to help train a lot of young Nigerians on mobile journalism. How to use your mobile phone to create premium content that can be on even big media platforms. I did interviews with my mobile phone that was on the BBC. My interview with Thomas Partey in Estonia was bought by the BBC. I did it on my mobile phone.
No, but because the key thing is we don't know how effective this vaccine is going to be, and we
Yes,
don't know how long COVID is going to go through. So even more so, online and media is still going to be accelerated.
of course. That is exactly what is motivating my whole thought process now. How to basically harness digital media more, because that's how I have actually become much more recognized. When I was leaving Nigeria, one of my great I become popular in Nigeria already, because I was regular on radio every day, 11 a.m. I was on TV. People knew me through traditional media. So while I was leaving Nigeria, well, that was my fear. I was like, how would I remain relevant? I will now go to Europe. Nobody will know me again. But thank God for social media, bro. I can't believe the last time I was in Nigeria in February, I was amazed at the level people recognized me because of social media. I go to a bar even at night. Somebody comes to me after 10 minutes and says, oh, I saw you walking in. When did you come? Oh, how is Germany? And I now realize the power of social media. If not for social media, you would never have seen the Pep Guardiola interview. It would have been on.
And also, obviously, the key thing as well is that in Nigeria, obviously in Nigeria, there's still issues with power and all this. But one thing that's I'm just sort of like surprised, but also really happy about it. So going back, is just how internet has just blown up.
Exactly.
And
Look
just
at the impact you're also making with your platform.
Yeah, but just the ease of which because even as well, even when I was in Nigeria as well, I was shocked by people who even knew me via YouTube or Twitter and so forth.
Exactly.
So do you? Because again, I think one of my hopes as well is that, especially specifically for Africa, there are more entrepreneurs and more people and individuals who can go onto the internet and really be able to take upon, as you say, like mobile journalism and be able to use the impact of the internet. But so do you think that, especially with COVID, that is just going to automatically be accelerated, or do you think people still need to be given that nudge that you need to really educate yourselves onto media, the internet, and how all these online different online methodologies work?
I think that people are already even trying to carve a niche for themselves digitally, because it's becoming clearer by the day that they say social media is the mainstream. It's not the mainstream, it's the stream actually.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. That's great. That's clever. Yeah,
It's the
it's a
stream.
stream. It's a stream.
So people are now beginning to see the power. A lot of people now, before now, you have to get a chance on traditional media. Somebody has to put you on radio. Somebody has to put you on TV. It was much more difficult back then. But now, all you need to do is open a social media handle and keep dropping your content. If they are beautiful, if they are well done, you before you know it, you have gone viral. And with COVID, there's even more the need to use digital media. For example, I have traveled less since COVID started. It is annoying. It is not interesting, but that's the new normal. You have to adjust.
Yeah.
We do now digital press conferences, which is even an advantage because I can sit here and I'll do 4 press conferences in one day.
Yeah.
Before now, if I'm in Paris, I'm only able to do PSD press conference. But with digital media, I can sit here, I'll do Ole. In the next 2 hours, I'll do Klopp. In the next 4 hours, I'll do Mourinho post-match like that. So which looks like even a bigger advantage. So that is telling you about the power of digital media. So I think that a lot of young people are taking advantage. Of course, they still need to be told of how much more being trained can help them do better. That's why I have done a training in video journalism, and I have decided that I will use the knowledge I garnered to also train a lot of young people in Nigeria on how to use your mobile phone. These days, you really don't need a camera. Your phones have pure, crystal clear quality.
No, because like I think the Samsung S8 is a better camera than most normal cameras you can buy.
God bless you. I use this. In fact, my interview with Tammy Abraham, with Fikayo Tomori were all done on Samsung S8. The pictures were beautiful.
It's amazing.
With good lighting, you have a clear HD quality picture. And you can do a lot with a mobile phone, and it makes your life easier. And you can get stories on the spot, impromptu, with your mobile phone. You don't need to set up any camera. Just put on your phone and you get your story. You edit. There are softwares now. I edit a lot of my videos on my phone with the iMovie app, with the Quick app. It gives you beautiful effect that you can't even get on Adobe Premiere. So there are a lot of tools right now that can make it even easier for a young, creative, willing mind to do magic with the mobile phone and digital media.
Yeah, no, because I think we're living in a world where people they want that, not only things instantaneously, but they want the raw, real emotion. And I think if you edit things too much, it may seem a bit contrived. And I think like the beauty about this is that it's real.
Yes.
It's raw. The camera is in their face. They're saying things, and then you can feel a greater connection, because I think especially with social media and so forth, fans want to become a lot more closer to the players. They want to break down that barrier that used to exist, because back in the 90s or the 80s, there was not internet, so players were this kind of distance thing that we could hardly reach. But now, social media, AMA, Ask Me Anything, Q&As, and so on and so forth, and with meet and greets, the whole thing is becoming a lot closer. So, Oma, any sort of final words or anything and things that you're working on, just to say to the audience before we end this very, very good discussion?
First thing first, let me thank you for giving me the opportunity to be on your platform. Let me also commend you. I'm impressed by your passion, because, like I said at the beginning of my speech, you need passion in media, in football journalism. It looks almost thankless. Sometimes I wonder why I'm doing this, because sometimes there's no direct or immediate benefit. It's something that they add up. Because if I go anywhere today, people recognize me, and automatically your name stands for something. If you mention my name anywhere in the world, 2 things: that guy in Europe who is interviewing all of the big coaches, interviewing all the biggest Nigerian players, it's positive. So, I commend you for, what you're doing. You told me you've done this for 10 years. That is amazing. Consistency is not something that is easy to come by. And I'd like to also thank everyone who have been part of this. To be honest, I didn't know that people were interested in asking me questions.
Oh, but you see, that's and like, let me even stop you there because I think
Yeah.
it's one of those things of where sometimes you don't realize how big you are because
Yes.
you're just focused. I
You
think the
just
thing
doing your
about
thing.
you're doing your thing, but it's like even when I put up the because I sort of I schedule it beforehand and it's already had like and this is before anything it's already had like 15, 20 likes
Really?
already and
On
this is
on
before anything
on your YouTube.
on my YouTube thing because you are known.
Wow.
And the thing is that you may not be known within your circles, but on social media,
Yes.
because of the kind of questions you asked,
Yes.
people feel, especially fans, that so
I
that's
think
like
that what something I notice people also feel is the realness. Is the fact that, like you said, I don't think in a systematic way.
oh no. Basically, it's like this. It's like you almost. It's almost like if you are us, you represent us.
Yes. And
We
you know, I
can't.
know,
We
and you know,
can't. No, no,
sometimes,
no. Because the one thing is that we can't count on those other journalists. So, like with that question you asked Pep Guardiola,
yeah,
he's like, "Oh, this isn't one of them.
yes,
This is
true.
one of us that has just
Yeah.
managed to sneak in through the door." So now, so you almost now have like a responsibility that you have to ask those questions that we want to ask because they're not going to ask them.
It's true.
So you represent us.
It's true.
So that is why I think when people see you and they know what kind of questions you ask and the way that you ask them, and even as you said on this interview that when
Yeah.
he gets given the chance against Klopp, you're going to
Yes.
bring the
I'm
fire.
going to go hard. I'm going
You're
to
going to
go
bring,
hard.
you're going to go hard, and that is just something that we admire because we like those because we are part of a community that are very passionate about football.
Yes.
We don't want the cookie cutter
Yeah.
questions because we get cookie cutter answers. We want the real questions, and these real questions never get asked because
Correct.
journalists are afraid that if I ask this, will I lose my accreditation? Will they not
Yeah.
just like me and everything?
Yeah.
But these things have to be asked. And my
Yeah.
thing is that you can choose not to answer the question, but put it out there.
Exactly. Let the world know.
The question was asked now. You decided not to answer it, and we can now draw a conclusion as to why you didn't answer what we think is a perfectly valid question. But
Exactly.
you asked the question,
Exactly.
and that's the key thing. So no, but I think that's 100%. I think like it's very important what you do, and I think what is also very important is the very fact that you're a Nigerian in your accent.
I like that word.
No, because I remember in school, I remember
Yeah.
because I made a conscious decision because
Okay.
this is a Nigerian guy. I was coming to England and I was like, oh, this is England. This is the white man's country. I've got to
Yeah.
speak English. But this is because again, this is where things are done properly. So it was a big thing, and
Yeah.
I was planning of assimilating, but then I got mocked for my accents. They made fun of my accents, and I just made a conscious.
Oh, really? In
Oh
school?
yeah, of course, yeah, in school, yeah. So I made a conscious decision that I can either follow these Nigerians who want to assimilate with the English accent, or I can maintain my accent and just, fight with the guys who
Yeah.
I said, you know what, I'm gonna just maintain my accent because I think this identity is really important for me.
Exactly.
So if I ever make it big, I'm interviewed, I'm gonna speak like this, which is this
Exactly.
accent, and not a made up.
Exactly.
So I think for you as well, it is vital. It is. I don't think you understand how important it is. You may not say how important it is that you asked Pep that question in a Nigerian accent.
It's true. I
Because
agree.
if you tried an English accent, it's like, this is, colonization, colony, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But the fact that it is a fully Nigerian accent, asking that question, it opens up people with regards to Nigeria just isn't just. We have sports journalists that can do the kini con kind of thing,
Exactly.
So, yeah.
And sometimes I always want to say, why don't you fine tune your accent a little bit? But I always go against that. I always say no, stay original. Because sometimes if I try to switch my accent, I feel like I'm not speaking good English.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm talking. I
Yeah.
feel like it's too watery. But when I speak with my proper Nigerian accent, I'm able to punch because Nigerians will speak in a punchy
Yeah,
manner.
it's
Do you
very
understand?
fierce. Yes.
Prayers. And I like that. Because sometimes when you're talking like that, the person you are asking questions is seeing you and is seeing you oozing confidence. So I think you're very correct. And that is something that I wanted to say, but I forgot. Okay, now, before we go, when we're doing our BBC training, one of the instructors said something to us that was interesting, because I asked her, I said, I noticed something about your BBC reporters in different countries. They have funny accents. She now said, yes, that's why we employ them. We want a Nigerian who is reporting from Lagos to speak like a Nigerian. We want a Sierra Leonean reporting from Freetown to sound Sierra Leone. We don't want a Nigerian in Lagos who is sounding in it. No, we have that in BBC in England. If you are if we say Oma Akatugba reporting from Lagos, we want to hear last week the Super Eagles of Nigeria beat Cameroon. Not last week the Super Eagles of Nigeria.
No.
We don't want to hear that. No. We have enough of that. It was an amazing eye opener for me, because we thought that because in Nigeria we have guys on radio who sound very fine, who sound very British, even though they live in Nigeria. And that's even the vogue right now. If you listen to Nigerian radio, bro, you're going to hear people speaking with their noses.
Oh, yeah. And it just doesn't, it sounds messed up.
And people with low self-esteem, they respect those people a lot. They will tell you they speak better English. That's why people think that Mikel Obi speaks better English than many Super Eagles players, but it's not true. It's just accent.
Yeah.
Which is not original.
Yeah.
So we thought that these guys who speak with some kind of fine accent will be the first to be employed by BBC. But then we see the pattern of BBC's employment. It is the guys who we usually think this guy will not be way they speak English like Igbo man. And that's what the BBC they're looking for. So you are absolutely correct.
Okay, so Oma, it has been great having you along. I think this has been a really good interview, and I think people, especially just learning about. I think what was really interesting was just giving us an insight into the kind of science of sports journalism, and just the kinds of things you have to do within sports journalism. And I think is a very interesting thing to do. And I just think, hopefully, in my small way, I just want to just sort of show people that there isn't just one face or accent or voice for sports journalism. It comes in various different voices, but I just think that it's very important that you keep doing your thing. And I know, hopefully, by the grace of God, you definitely, receive huge success in 2021 and above. So guys, that's all from us. Remember to like the video. Remember to follow Oma in his Twitter page in the description box below, man. And we'll see you guys next Friday for another one of these, guys. Peace out. Stay true, guys. Peace.
Good night.
Peace.